Hello, my name is Sammy Sifadine, and today I'll be doing a review on the Sucker Punch game Ghost of Tsushima. I'll be going over what I liked about this game from a game design perspective. To begin, I'll be going over the narrative of Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is a game that takes place during the Mongol invasion of Japan, as the Mongols would invade the neighboring islands of Japan. One of my favorite aspects of Ghost of Tsushima is the story being told. The Mongol invasion has led to Jin, our main character, to take actions that both his ancestors and guardians deemed as cowardly. In the story, Jin is a samurai of the Sakai clan and is being raised by his uncle, Lord Shimura, who is a Jito, essentially the leader of Tsushima Island. Shimura took Jin under his wing after the death of Jin's parents. Shimura raised Jin to be a samurai, and most importantly, a samurai that fights with honor. In this game, the samurai believe one should face their opponent in the eye when they kill them and never resort to sneak attacks and acts of fear such as poison. Jin believed in this code of honor for his entire life until that day on the beach where he saw the strength and power of the Mongol army overwhelm his people and fellow samurai. Jin was forced to make a choice in order to save his people and defeat the Mongols. Jin had to throw honor to the side. This is where Jin begins to use tactics that his uncle and fellow samurai would deem as cowardly. These include sneak attacks, poison darts, and etc. As he moves along the story, cutting down the Mongols and saving innocent lives one by one, Jin is given the nickname the Ghost. One might ask, how did Jin's uncle feel about Jin's actions? Well, in the beginning of the story, Jin's uncle was actually captured by the Mongols, and freeing him is the objective of the first act of the game. While in prison, Shimura was briefly told by the Mongols the actions that his nephew was taking. At first, he didn't believe this, and when he saw his Jin again, he reminded him of the ways of samurai, that is, fighting with honor. However, by the end of the story, Jin was fully brought into being the Ghost. It wasn't until Shimura saw it with his own eyes that he accepted that his nephew, who he saw as his own son, had fallen down the wrong path. This is my favorite part of the game, because as the player, the actions that Jin are taking can be seen as necessary. We see firsthand how taking an honorable way in a situation would do more harm than good. In my eyes, at least, I thought of Shimura as a stubborn man that could not adapt to new ways. Taking the honorable way against a dishonorable enemy will only lead to defeat and innocence to be killed. I believe one of the main lessons I took from the story is something being good or bad is all based on perspective. Next, I want to talk about the objects and settings within Ghost of Tsushima. One of my favorite parts of the game is the scenery of the game. There's so many times throughout the game where I hop off my horse and just admire the scenery of a specific landmark within the game. It is obvious that the game knows that scenery is good, as you only have to press one button on the controller in order to access the camera feature. Throughout the game, there are multiple resources that the player is allowed to stack up on. These include iron, gold, flour, and etc. These resources can all be used at the shops provided at different sites within the island. In exchange for these resources, the shops will upgrade armor, weapons, or even provide new armor and sword dye. My favorite objects within the game have to be the legendary armor of the patched samurai from within the island. These pieces of armor are collected after doing side quests which are based on these samurai of the past. Before getting the armor, the player learns about the lives of these samurai and have to complete some objective. Next, I want to talk about the actions and interactions of the game. By far, my favorite aspect of the game is the gameplay. In my opinion, the gameplay always reminded me of past games I've played, such as Assassin's Creed. The game does such a good job of immersing the player into the world. Every time I opened up the game, I felt like an unstoppable samurai. Throughout the game, as you kill more Mongols, your legend around the island grows. You'll gain new and more powerful techniques as your legend grows, which only makes the gameplay more fun as you dominate your opponents. In addition, there includes the interactions with the side characters of the game. You are allowed to listen to the stories of people who live in Tsushima Island, and playing side missions help them in their endeavors. It was also nice to see that these individuals would come to help you in the main missions later on. It would make it feel as if the help you provided was well worth it. However, the stories of those friends do not stop at the conclusion of the main story. After game content allows the story of these friends to continue as we get a full conclusion to their stories. Another interaction that I appreciated in this game was when we, the player, had to save innocents captured by the Mongols. In my opinion, this interaction added to the feeling of being the island's only hope for freedom. And finally, I want to talk about the outcomes of the game. For For me, this game was a delightful experience and it is deserving of all the praise it receives. From the amazing story to the fun gameplay, Ghost of Tsushima includes all the aspects you would want from a samurai-based game. In my opinion, the game also includes one of my favorite conclusions in all of gaming. For the final mission, you are forced to face off against your uncle in a fight to the death. At the end, the game gives the player a choice: grant the uncle his wish of an honorable death, or spare him. I decided to spare the uncle as I believe it went more in line with Jin's character and the development he has seen throughout the entire story. Throughout the game, you're constantly putting aside what the samurai consider honorable for what we ultimately believe is right, and I don't believe Jin thinks his uncle deserves to die. Thank you for listening to my overview of Ghost of Tsushima. Have a good rest of your day.